Meanwhile, the Russians are striking beyond Ukrainian territory. They're targeting Americans too, not with missiles, but with prank calls. And this is no laughing matter. World leaders are falling for it. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, singer Elton John, Polish President Andrzej Duda, former German Chancellor Angela Merkel, even Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, they've all fallen prey to Russian pranksters. In the best case scenario, it's embarrassing. In the worst case scenario, it's dangerous. The latest victim is this man, Jerome Powell, the chairman of the US Federal Reserve. He heads the Central Bank of America. He got a prank call from Russia. The caller pretended to be Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and he managed to get Powell on the phone. It did not happen today or this week. This call, we are told, was made in January. We are talking about it today because now we have more details and statements. Apparently, it was a video call. Powell picked up the phone and had a full-blown discussion on a range of topics, from the inflation outlook to the Russian central bank. They talked about all of it. And now the video is doing the rounds. Reports say it has been released by the Russian state media. We've not been able to access the video yet, but we do have some quotes. Here is what Powell is believed to have said on the subject of inflation, and I'm quoting. "We would tell you that a recession is almost as likely as very slow growth. I think that is partly because of us having raised rates quite a bit, but this is what it takes to get inflation down." That's what Powell told the fake Zelensky. And let me remind you, this isn't some low-level official sitting in a government office. This is the chairman of the US Fed, a man you cannot access easily, but a bunch of Russians got him on a video call and got him to talk about the economy and inflation. Do you know who these people were? Two Russian comedians, Vladimir Krasnov and Alexei Stolyarov, better known as Vovan and Lexus. They call themselves supporters of Putin, and they say they're the ones who pulled off this stunt. Meanwhile, the US Fed has admitted to the blunder. This is what their statement says, and I'm quoting, "It was a friendly conversation and took place in a context of our standing in support of the Ukrainian people in this challenging time. No sensitive or confidential information was discussed. The matter has been referred to appropriate law enforcement, and out of respect for their efforts, we won't be commenting further." So the Fed says no damage done. And yet this is worrying because it's not a first. In the past, Vovan and Lexus have fooled other politicians, the likes of Boris Johnson, not when he was the Prime Minister, but when he was the UK's Foreign Secretary. The Russian comedians made a hoax call to him, and London blamed the Kremlin for this. Then earlier this year, Christine Lagarde fell prey to something similar. She is the chief of the European Central Bank. The pranksters used the same trick on her. They impersonated Zelensky and spoke to Lagarde. I've already told you about the other leaders who fell for this trick. And even though no sensitive information was shared, not that we know of, the very fact that they keep getting pranked should disturb them. These are men and women who run our world. They lead major countries and economies. They flex their militaries at the mere hint of a provocation. They slap sanctions to make rivals bend, but they keep falling for Russian pranks. And you have to feel for Zelensky. How many videos has he made since the war began? Even did a photo shoot for the Vogue, yet his friends in the West cannot tell the fake from the real. All we can say is this: before they plan their next big move, perhaps they should hire a fact checker.